Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are jumping right in to unpack a really fascinating and highly detailed presentation by entrepreneur Iman Gadzhi. We're going to deconstruct his AI-driven framework for the creator economy, a business model he calls the growth marketer. We'll objectively map out the exact mechanics of this pitch, step by step, to see how it proposes that beginners can actually monetize other people's audiences using artificial intelligence. As always, our goal here is to break down the source material so you can understand the precise architecture of this proposed system. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our structured roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the creator gold rush. 2, rating online business models. 3, the growth marketer model. 4, the 3-step AI system. And finally, number 5, launching and scaling.
Section 1, the creator gold rush.
So the foundational premise of this whole pitch is that we are entering a totally new economic era where traditional work is shifting. To illustrate this, the source points to a massive projection. Experts estimate the creator economy will hit a staggering $500 billion valuation by 2027. Gadzhi uses this data to introduce a classic concept, the shovel seller metaphor. During a gold rush, the people making the most reliable money aren't the ones digging, they're the ones selling the shovels. The argument here is that the real opportunity isn't in trying to become a famous creator yourself, but actually in supplying the tools and services to those who already have an audience.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Gadzhi narrows the focus. The target isn't massive celebrities with millions of followers. Instead, this framework specifically targets the micro-creator. Think of that highly specific niche gardening specialist, or maybe a fitness coach or language teacher you follow who has a deeply engaged audience of, say, 10,000 to 100,000 people. The presentation claims that while the top 1% of creators are making a fortune, the other 99% are basically an untapped gold mine. They have the audience's trust, right? But they completely lack the tools, the time, and the marketing knowledge to actually create and sell a digital product. Moving on to Section 2, rating online business models. To position his solution, Gadzhi evaluates traditional beginner business models against his own proposed system across 6 specific metrics. We're talking things like startup capital, scalability, and unitary gain, which just means the profit margin on a single sale. The source argues that the popular choices fail on multiple tests here. For instance, drop shipping requires high startup capital and really complex fulfillment. Trading is criticized for lacking predictable unitary gain and being incredibly high risk. High-ticket sales? Well, that demands years of skill development to master. In stark contrast, growth marketing is framed as the absolutely optimal beginner model because it allegedly requires virtually zero startup capital, offers lightning-fast speed to that first dollar, and utilizes AI to keep both the skill requirements and fulfillment complexity incredibly low.
Which brings us to Section 3, the growth marketer model.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact financial engine of the system. As a growth marketer, the pitch is that you take on absolutely zero upfront financial risk. You aren't buying inventory, you're not running expensive ads. Instead, you approach a micro-creator, offer to build and launch a digital product for them using AI, and negotiate a revenue share. Typically, the creator keeps 70% of the profits, and you, the growth marketer, keep a 30% cut of every single sale made to their audience. Because the creator avoids all the heavy lifting, it's positioned as a highly attractive win-win scenario that is just very hard for them to refuse. Let's look at Section 4, the 3-step AI system. But how does a beginner actually execute this without any specialized marketing skills? Well, the framework is broken down into a simple 3-step copy and paste process. Find, build, and launch. Gadzhi claims that by executing this process, a beginner can realistically secure 1 to 2 brand new creator partnerships every single month. Let's break down the mechanics of how each of these steps is actually executed on the following slides. So, the absolutely crucial point in step 1 is a massive psychological shift in your outreach. The source notes that sending generic cold messages asking to partner will almost always get ignored. Instead, the framework relies on specialized AI to automatically scrape and audit a creator's profile, analyzing their audience engagement to generate a customized monetization game plan. This document projects potential revenue and offers a specific product idea. By sending this incredibly valuable, data-backed plan to the creator for free upfront, the presentation argues you dramatically increase the chances of getting a yes, purely because you're leading with value and proving your competence before ever even asking for a partnership. Once that creator agrees, step 2 is to actually build the product. According to the source, what used to take 4 to 6 months of manual labor to create an online course or coaching program is now completely replaced by specialized software called Synthesize AI. The presentation demonstrates feeding the AI the creator's profile data to instantly generate a unique value zone and a really visceral before and after transformation map for the customer. With just a few more clicks, the software allegedly builds out a complete 5-week action plan, including all the specific course modules and downloadable worksheets. So the growth marketer acts purely as the operator of the AI, totally bypassing the need for any actual subject matter expertise. All right, Section 5, Launching and Scaling. Let's move to and see how this builds into the final execution phase. Think about the way you naturally tap through Instagram stories. This phase leverages a very specific 14-day story sequence built on proven psychological triggers. Days 1 through 3 focus on warming up the audience and sparking curiosity. Days 4 through 9 are all about delivering massive free value and building trust. Finally, days 10 through 14 open the cart to actually drive sales. But again, the growth marketer doesn't write this copy. The presentation introduces another AI tool, Ghostwriter OS, which allegedly generates the daily, customized scripts and calls to actions for the creator to simply copy, paste, and post right to their stories. Now, it's really important to neutrally report that this entire source material ultimately serves as an application pitch for Godzy's high-ticket, done-with-you program called Up-Level Consulting. The presentation claims that trying to do all this alone with generic AI tools is probably going to result in failure. Therefore, the pitch offers exclusive access to those proprietary synthesized AI and Ghostwriter OS softwares we just covered, alongside 6 months of one-on-one support with a dedicated consultant, weekly departmental calls, virtual masterminds, and a comprehensive operating playbook. The source materials clearly position this paid ecosystem as the absolutely necessary toolkit to execute this exact system successfully. To summarize, the source presents a really compelling vision of utilizing specialized AI to instantly generate value for untapped micro-creators, acting as a modern-day middleman in the booming creator economy. It's a highly systematized approach, designed specifically to bypass the steep learning curves of traditional online businesses. However, as we wrap up this explainer, it leaves us with a highly provocative question to consider. If these specialized AI tools become so incredibly frictionless that they can instantly build entire products and 14-day launch sequences with just a few clicks, well, how long will this growth marketer arbitrage model really remain viable before creators simply start using these AI tools themselves? It is definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.